All right, we're gonna start coverage of chapter 2 today, chapter 3, financial ratios. All right. Anybody has heard of these things called financial ratios? Okay. What do you think they are? Since you're nodding. Okay, but what do you think they are, financial ratios? Huh? Sure. Turnover rate. Generally, the ratios of different items from financial statement. Obviously, you can make thousands of millions of ratios. We're not going to do those. We're going to look at financial ratios with certain purpose in mind. And why are we using that ratio? Once we get that number, what does it mean? And what are some acceptable number? Is it too high, too low, normal? We usually use financial ratios to make comparisons across firms and looking at the same firm over time. Because over time, firms change their nature, especially looking at firms of different size. You want to take out essentially the role of that size. If I'm going to compare NVIDIA, which has a market cap of anywhere from $2.5 to $3 trillion, to another AI kind of player, Micron Systems, which does high-speed memory chips that are used quite a bit in AI systems. Well, that company is only worth 100 billion or so. That doesn't mean that I won't be able to compare them. I just need to do things that's going to take the size away. With that in mind, the first thing we're going to look at are so-called common size financial statements. We're going to take the balance sheets and divide every single item by total assets, income statements. We're going to divide it by total sales or revenue. That way we take size out of consideration. If I want to compare the ratio of current assets to total assets in NVIDIA, I can make that comparison for NVIDIA and for Micron Systems. Yes, NVIDIA is a much bigger company in terms of their assets, but once I look at that number, that's all I need to know. Common size financial statements are more important to use to follow a firm over time. You want to see the trends. So you can look at trends over time. Why is this important? Companies do not stay the same size. They either grow organically, which means they make money. They don't return that money to investors. They return it back to the business, or they acquire other companies. Today, Microsoft bought NVIDIA. It's not going to happen. I don't think that would ever pass regulatory approval. But if it did, suddenly the new company would have been almost $6 trillion company. But if I want to compare Microsoft's performance before the takeover versus after, it's like comparing an orange to a grape. Yeah, they're similar, but I got to be able to make an orange to orange comparison. That's why we use common size financial statements. Let's download for example, financial statements of NVIDIA. And for this, I'm going to use sec.gov. Website for Securities and Exchange Commission. All companies are required to file, all publicly traded companies are required to file their quarterly financial statements. Let's look at NVIDIA. And companies file things that are there is a material change in the company that investors and creditors should know. They file them. But financial statements are known as 10K and 10Q statements. 10Qs are quarterly financial statements that are on the quarters other than the last quarter of the fiscal year. The 10Ks are annual statements that are filed on the last quarter of the fiscal year. For example, if I do look at 10K, I'm not going to look at 10Q, but the last 10K NVIDIA had was for a period that ended January 28, 2024. That is the end of their fiscal year. Most companies have their fiscal year that ends in 31st of December, but not all companies. Microsoft, for example, has their fiscal year ends at the end of September. I'm going to look at the last 10Q. Oops. If you look at, click on the link, you get the actual text of the filing. But if you click on the filing itself, you can hit on interactive data. You can directly reach the financial statements that you want, but in a table form. But for civilized people, I want everything in Excel file. Since companies provide that to SEC, SEC also tells you that you can open the Excel document. Let's save this. So this is NVIDIA Q3, Q2, and Q. Save. You can open it. Anything that is available as a table in the thank you filing, the sheet on this Excel document. I'm going to look at, this is the income statement, for example. Oh, this is condensed. I don't want to look at the condensed. Let me see if they have uncondensed. Apparently not. This is the condensed income statement. Basically, aggregation is not too much. If you look at it, the quarterly filing gives you the last 4 quarters, but the last 2 quarters, but it also gives you the last 2 6-month periods. Let's just look at the quarterly. For example, compared to same quarter that ended end of July 2023, NVIDIA sales went from 13.5 billion to 30 billion. If you look at the 6-month, from 20 and a half to about 56, right? They sell these GPU type updates that this is going to improve. So if I wanted to make a comparison of let's look at the 6 months. Let me copy this. Paste it here.